Dear Sangha, our AAPI, Asian, American, and Pacific Islander community suffers tremendously from the shocking murders against our community in Atlanta. However, anti-AAPI hate is not new. This dehumanizing and inferior treatment is what we've lived with all our lives. Anti-AAPI hate has always been a part of American history. Despite laboring for generations as American citizens, our ancestors were indiscriminately ridiculed, othered, dismissed, gaslit, and scapegoated. Our fathers and mothers were honest, hardworking citizens, trying to raise their families just like everyone else. However, if you ask us, every one of us has similar experiences of coping with hate and racism against our people. This is the norm of our life experiences. Despite many of us being born and raised in America, or having spent most of our lives as American citizens, we're still seen as perpetual foreigners. Consequently, when we speak up, it's often ignored or not taken seriously. We're reduced to stereotypes and not human beings. When COVID hit, our community was further attacked. Even the former President of the United States perpetuated this hate, calling us names. We spoke and cried out, "Help us." We're being punched in the streets and spit in our faces. Our businesses are graffitied with, "Thanks for COVID and ruining the world." But the world moved on and ignored us. It took the recent murders to get attention, a year later finally. The reported number of those assaulted, abused, or have died has been about 3,800 in the past year. Hate crimes against AAPIs have more than doubled, rising 150%. We're culturally conditioned to believe that we're delusional, that we don't understand, that our voices don't count. This is the intense self-hatred and the soul and identity of the Asian American experience. But why speech speaks directly to such social injustice, and for too long, we've stayed silent in submission. Quote, "Some, because of certain experiences or cultural conditioning, have been taught that we don't have permission to use our voices. Why speech may mean learning how to use our voices that have been silenced." End quote. The killing of 6 Asian women speak louder than words. It's disgusting and unacceptable as officials deny calling the attack in Atlanta a hate crime. It's even more disgraceful that the government would fan the flames of anti-Asian hate by scapegoating Asians for this tragic world pandemic. We, RD AAPI members, support Asian Americans Advancing Justice Atlanta's statement. Quote, "The AAPI community is already grappling with the trauma of increasing violence against Asian Americans nationwide, fueled by scapegoating around the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and the United States' long history of systematic racism. Join us in decrying misogyny and systematic racism that is at the core of violence against immigrant and Black communities." End quote. As Recovery Dharma members, we are the minority in a Sangha that is practicing the principles and traditions that are part of our own ancestry and culture. RD AAPI members have been reflecting on our place and roles in the larger Recovery Dharma community. It feels like we've been invisible and erased from our Buddhist traditions. Can you imagine someone taking something treasured in your own family for generations and handing it back to you without much acknowledgement or awareness of the root and source? For AAPI, this happens at every Recovery Dharma meeting. We urge each member of Recovery Dharma to not act with denial, but observe and reflect on our unconscious biases at play within our practice and consider how to provide more refuge for AAPI and all people of color. The conscious and subconscious suffering of racism affects us all. We ask each Recovery Dharma member to look within and inquire so we can truly see one another as equals and not mere caricatures projected on the other. No, we are not blaming anyone for the racism that already exists, but we must acknowledge systematic racism is real. And we believe it is our responsibility, practicing the Dharma, to do the next right thing. As AAPI members of Recovery Dharma, our hearts are bleeding. Out of that pain, we've been asked to use our voices to name our pain. We stand with our AAPI community, and we ask each Recovery Dharma member and Sangha to stand with us in solidarity, to take wise action, and ultimately to proactively make RD a refuge that is inclusive, diverse, equitable, and accessible for all. Thank you for reading. The RDG Board of Directors released an official bulletin encouraging all members to add your signature. For further reference, please read RDG Board of Directors' Statement Against Oppression of All Kinds. And for additional support, if you're suffering, please reach out to our AAPI Gmail at aapirecoverydharma@gmail.com. With Meta, Recovery Dharma AAPI members who are BIPOC members and RD facilitators. Signatures of support below. May the pain of addiction, trauma, and feeling apart lead us back to the heart. To add your signature, use the easy form at sign.rd.rocks. Thank you.